whatever, make great money, solid, got back, boomerang back, because all bosses do. Let me say that again. All bosses boomerang back. It doesn't matter what they take from us. It always rectifies itself. And there's patterns of this energy of cleansing and transformation and rectification and reconciliation and setting things correct. That good mother, auntie spirit that comes through, and that feminine energy, ashe, correcting. And we also self-correct because we got higher callings. So shout out to Glenn Gaines. He called me, he said, RC, what we doing? I said, well, I know you as someone who works in 501c3. I'm going to educate you because I can't tell you how to vote. But you got the right to vote, brother. You have been formerly incarcerated, but in the state of California, we passed that you can do that. You can vote because your time is done. Look up time done. Shout out to Jay Jordan. So how do we connect? I've been traveling. I've been in Chicago. I've been on the ground here. I've been at California Forward. I've been liberating myself for critical responses in education. And the haterism and the level of haterism were people in the gossip. So I must address it before we bring our backstage host on. The gossip is getting in the middle of change. But sometimes y'all have to gossip to learn. It's part of y'all process. And I had to learn too. You got to be delivered from gossip. You want to heal yourself. If you got an ought against your brother, you go to that brother alone and you don't go yelling. No. I had to learn that too. You got to go be with yourself on the trails and walk and talk to yourself and regulate. I did that too with hiking with Shaw for Community. And I appreciate my time. What we're going to do in the coalition is we're going to focus solely on the word. We're going to do it trauma-informed way. If we have an ought against our brother, we're going to come to our brother. We're going to deal with it one-on-one. We don't go to other people. We surely don't lash out and try to cut somebody from the dais and the council or any other leadership unless they surely need to be held accountable. That's a different story. But a lot of us are in our feelings and we lash out. We lash out on Facebook. We lash out on Instagram. We lash out with our words. I lash out with my intellect. I'll be setting stuff up there on my Instagram and watching the analytics. I put the most stupidest stuff in my analytics go up. I saw that at Jason Lee's Hollywood Unlocked. We just put stupid things and y'all just click on it. It changes your logarithm to your feed, but it gives them views and makes their pages relevant. Y'all will learn this if you read. If you teach yourself something on AI, learn how to monetize who you are and do not be a slave or a prostitute to anyone. It's very harsh words that I'm speaking, but I speak with the power of those that taught me. Time for change and transformation, including myself. Putting boundaries in place. People who try to use you, or you always allowing people in your space and your boundaries, that's not good boundaries. And there's a way you correct people. You do not go old to the internet. So what I saw on some of these feeds today, I said, I'm going to go on the podcast. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it because I could be myself on my podcast that I put my money into. Nobody else pays. And sometimes I can't say the things I need to say as a CEO or executive director for a nonprofit. I come and stand to you today as my alias, Rebel Rae. They call me Rebel because I believe in good trouble, like the good Senator Lewis said. Not because I'm a rebellious person. Any person that truly knows me, spend some time with me, they know I mean good. I stand on it, and I come from a minister family, a military family, a family that marched, that sat at the counters, that had a slave grandfather and had a plantation great grandfather. So we got many perspectives, as well as indigenous perspectives. Humbling yourself to go sit and hear from the indigenous about their land that was stolen in the Native American Indian Removal Act. The Trail of Tears, the concentration camps, the first ones we ever did see. The first genocide of smallpox. We don't talk about these things, but they're patterns. There's patterns we're seeing today with ICE and concentration camps. I will say it. The removal of people whose land were thousands of years theirs and being told and wiped to oblivion in front of us, and we're not able to talk about it. Make it stop. It's a call of action. I'm having these deep conversations in a courageous way. I don't want any attacks. It comes with the leadership role, though. I don't want no heat from anybody, and I'm not here to call anybody out. I want to inform, I want to record, and I want to document our changes. It's time for us to look at ourselves and move forward. City of Stockton, what are we doing? What are we doing, City of Stockton? I've been up there many, many times. Gotta get it together. The gossiping gotta stop. You want to know something? Come to that person and ask, and hold that person to what they say. And if you don't believe it, move on. Don't post it and then put at highlight. Who does that? Who raised you? I'm starting to say that. We used to say that when we were kids, but it made us think, because our grandmothers said, don't be out there embarrassing me and come in when the street lights. There were codes of conduct when you went in church, and there were code of conduct when you went in grandmama's house. I got called all the time. Sit down, Rachel. You loud. Sit down. I love you, but you loud. Take that pie. Do something with your hands. Because they knew I was full of energy. And I needed a focus because I was such a critical thinker. I was called by God at a very young age. And I have a story, and I will tell it. These centers we be practicing in the center. Clean energy. Cost-saving energy. So I say all of this because now I'm going to bring on Angela Pascal. Angela Pascal is an educator, longtime educator, has known me since I was a little girl. And I'm going to ask our backstage person who is helping us with the feed, Peter, Elias, to come in the frame as well. It's important because we got an educator and we also got a student, a young person who has been affected, who's now came back, boomerang, and did the work. A lot of y'all from college had to move home because it got hard. You come back home and do the change. Charles, I heard you was back. Come on, Charles, we need you. How do we reach people in a way where we tell the truth and be okay with telling the truth? Let's go. You live. Let's talk out. You gotta unmute your microphone. Let's go.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Let's go. Let's go.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm glad to join the podcast. Um, as you said, I'm a longtime educator. I have the joy of watching you grow into your, shall I say, social justice butterfly um, from a young child. And I too have a social justice orientation, but I actualize it through my work as an educator in San Joaquin County.
Okay. So we're here in this crucial time. We just got a new board of trustee where?
Area 2, Stockton Unified School District.
Mm-hmm. And what are we hoping to understand with area 2? I'm moving around because my lights keep going out. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Okay, Area 2 is often characterized as some of our most needy schools. Um, we'll hear terms like at risk, marginalized, um, opportunity gaps. But also, when I think of area two, I think of the rich history that feeds into those schools. When you mentioned Mr. Gaines' name, I had memories that come back through that. So those schools that are
Ashe.
often stigmatized can be a source of nourishment for our communities if we embrace the legislative rules or practices that are in place right now to truly take community ownership of our schools.
Oh, well, listen, I got educated folks. I got simple language folks. I got you. You are so educated. That is a compound educated speech. You said I needed real jargon or some simple
Okay.
language. Because girl, you said a lot.
Okay, so in the state of California, there has been an organized effort led by different groups to return the control of the schools to the local community. The first attempt at that was the school site council. Hey, parents, come on campus, help us build our plans on how we're going to spend our Title I money, as they call it, which is basically money that is meant to serve students that are living below the poverty rate. We still won't
What's
get
the poverty rate? What's the poverty rate, Queen?
poverty rate is basically, I'll go back old school. Um, Remember, we had lunch tickets. If you got a green lunch ticket, your parents made too much money. If you got a red lunch ticket, you live below the poverty rate.
Okay, listen to this. Just sidebar. Janie B. Reddish, my elementary teacher, shout out. She was the first one that brought us real snakeskin, real African artifacts from Africa. She set us down. She showed the world outside of us. With this money, what money are we putting towards transformative learning experiences? Like she had to bring it to us at Montezuma. And I remember that. And I was always in because I had a lot of energy. I was always in her office, but she never was critical of me. I just worked as like an assistant and she would talk to me. But I remember critical trust builders as well. So I want you to touch on two things that community schools do. They build cultural trauma informed practices, cultural competent practices for that actual school's culture, correct?
Correct.
Mm.
So, so in a district the size of Stockton Unified, if community schools are embraced and actualized the way they have been envisioned, each school would be different because each community, even though we have the golden thread of being part of Stockton Unified, each school truly has unique needs. So if we were to embrace community, the power of community schools, we would be able to go onto campuses and see how the schools pulls their resources and activities and focus to meet the needs of the kids that attend that school.
That could be dangerous. That
Truly
sounds
impactful and implemented,
it's
we must
impactful, but
have
it could
community
be
involvement.
it
In
seems like
fact,
uncharted
the law that
territory
is
or
written
has to be a
around
gun.
community schools requires the community to be involved. So this is no longer where just the Board of Education or just the teachers or just the principals or just the staff make the decisions at the school. It is required that the community of that school, the lived community of that school, be part of the decision making process.
All right. Well, I'm at it. I just went on Facebook. Y'all got to remember we're multi-generational podcast. Can y'all hear me okay, Angela?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sidebar, we got San Joaquin County Board of Schools at the County of San Joaquin. The San Joaquin County Board of Supervisors has unanimously appointed Najee Sarif as the County Next Director of Public Works, effective March 23rd, 2026. With over 25 years of experience in the department, Sarif brings experience and extensive expertise in public infrastructure, transportation planning, and departmental leadership. to support safer, stronger, and more efficient community services. Do y'all see the mobilization that's happening? Do they see it, Angela?
I see it. I see it because I know I'm gonna catch some flack for this, but I think we wear the phrase out. It takes a village. It doesn't take just a village. It takes an active village to in order to connect all these dots and get things moving forward. It takes a persistent village. I love how you opened up when you said that you don't gotta raise your voice. You don't have to act in rage. Sometime you have to um, be persistent and act in purpose. And sometimes that requires us to listen.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you,
One
Jesus.
and one thing I did want to speak to about the power of community schools is that we begin to see curriculum being implemented that is more reflective of the students we serve. It often troubles me as an educator that when our data comes out from our local schools, it's not always good. It shows small increments of improvement. But if you were to meet those kids one on one and have conversations with them and see what they're passionate about, you would see that those numbers that are publicized really don't speak to what our children are capable of doing.
Well, I
Communities.
know that. I know
Mhm.
that because I've seen it done in Oakland. I've seen it done in Harlem. I've seen it done in Chicago. I've seen it done in many places. Now, we're gonna get you out the water for a moment,
Okay.
and I don't want to jab because I'm a jabber. I got this sage right here. Are we public schools aiming against charter schools? How do we all work together, or is too much politics?
Okay. So and I don't use the word transparency because I believe that's been hijacked. I'm gonna just be honest with you guys. Um, I was one of the original teachers at Langston Hughes. In fact, I named the school Langston Hughes, and Don
No, you
Shapley.
didn't. No,
Yes, I
you
did.
didn't, Angela. Don't go over that. Slow down. Bro, that's monumental. Can we heart it up? What?
Yes, I'll tell you. I took a 2 year sabbatical from the one program because I always wanted to teach in what is the so-called hardest environments. So I took a 2 year sabbatical and I joined Aspire. I was there when Tony Selena was a teacher. There were 5 of us in a room, and we worked and opened up what is now known as Langston Hughes. I remember Don Shavley coming to us and said, "Hey, it's time for you guys to name the school. But you have to convince me and the board
Yeah,
that whatever name you choose is
yeah.
appropriate."
And rest in peace, Don.
Yes.
He did so much for Stockton, San Joaquin, LA, San Francisco, Sacramento. He was everywhere. And he was right in our community, bringing that transformative framework. It was amazing. A lot of people did. Michael Tubbs.
Yes.
Who else? Lang Lutau. It
Kevin
was many
Taylor.
people who tried, huh?
Kevin Taylor was the original principal of Langston Hughes. He doesn't often get his due, but he was the one who persevered when that school first opened. But I want to return back to the question you have of why there's a tension between some charters and the public school. Charters that are rooted in serving kids, I don't have a problem with them. Charters that are ran by corporations and that take a vast amount of money off the top before the dollars hit the classroom, I have a
Well,
I have a
um,
problem with. Charters that open up, take that big charter starting grant, run it run a scarcity program, live off of bumper sticker phrases, and then close, I have a problem with. I am
okay.
for
I'm starting to look like David Singathy on camera. They be catching him on camera with his facial expressions. My mama always used to say, and when I was studying to be a therapist,
Mhm.
My facial expressions give me away. Girl, it's a black thing. It's a culture thing. Okay, hold on. Oh my. That oh my. So there's allocated LCAP funds. Get into that real quickly about funding and how we need to pay attention to this new Prop 50. You're not telling us how to vote, but the vote has passed. How
Mhm.
does funding get allocated now and regionally? What's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, California is unique in that our funding goes through what we call local control funding formula. And local control formula was developed as a result of inequities in funding formats. For example, if I happen to live in Brookside, um, my house, to be very frank, generates more tax dollars into the
You
base.
know, because your house is more worth that, but that's attributed to
Yes,
redlining. We couldn't get there. You
exactly.
got there.
But that's what it was. So California, recognizing that, started this work of how can we fund schools in an equitable manner. And that's how we got the local control funding formula, which
How much we
basically,
get? How much we
I don't
get?
I can tell you the framework.
It's
I don't
public
know the
record.
dollars by heart.
It's public record.
Yes, they can find out. But I don't want to speak to the dollar amount because I don't know the exact dollar amount. I
Well,
know how it's set up
to
because
the impact. We opened
yes.
up how many? Talk about the advisory board.
Well, to get your LCAP approved, you have to have the community's input into developing and monitoring the goals. But the beauty of the LCAP is that, but the money is tied to this, Rebel. Every school district gets what's called base funding. Then you get additional funding for, they call it the concentration um, fund, where if you serve students that are low income, foster youth, English language learners, the state recognized that often those populations require more needs, so they'll give you additional monies to meet those students' needs. So every school district has the same base funding. The difference in school district fundings come from that local concentration grant. When you have school districts like Stockton Unified, when more than 50% of their students meet one of their categories, then they get the bigger bumps in funding.
Yeah, I know. So there's the generation that I come from. Our eyes are really open because we lived many,
Mhm.
many pandemics and many different wavelengths of economic everything, downturn and all that. It seems like with millennials. But Gen X is getting antsy and they're calling it poverty pimping. I was like, what? What is that? And they're seeing that the things, conditions are staying the same, and they're not seeing the outcomes they would like. The youth are also saying that they need more things to do to keep them interested in the area so they could take up economics. It's like that goes back to the cradle to career work that we all know as educators. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
So my screen went blank. I can't see you.
Mhm, mhm.
So what I'm saying is we're taking our time. Are we going truly back restorative, or is this a new framework? Because I'm getting calls and people are just trying to understand, is this what is this? What is
Well,
this time frame work that you're calling community schools for someone historically has some issues with supporting disadvantaged communities, although they're saturated in disadvantaged
mhm,
communities? This large system entity that we work in most of the time, how are
right.
they going to change their framework and their culture? Two, SUSD. Let's talk about it.
Well, I think a good first step for SUSD starting to be more responsive to the students that we serve is a community school framework. We've got 42 schools that are operating under that framework. This is going to be the first full year of that, but it is going, I don't want to say it's going to take time, but it is going to take persistence that the model is implemented with fidelity. That means it's not coming to a meeting once a year, it's attending all those community school meetings to say, let's pull out some data. Let's pull out the checkbook. Let's see if we are funding what we should be funding. And if what we are funding is leading to increased outcomes for our students. Are we speaking to the cultural needs of our students, behavioral needs of our students, the social emotional, the arts? All that in a community school model is driven by the community, which consists of the teachers, the administrators, the staff members, the parents, the students, and the surrounding community saying, this is what the data shows, this is what our community hearts see, and therefore this is what we want to see in this school.
Now,
I Is it going to be?
you preaching to the choir, and I think people who are settling in and listening to you, because I hit up a bunch of people in the restorative justice circle. You're preaching to the choir. When though? When expectations? Because again, I just did that whole cautionary tale about going up into this board of trustees and demanding this and demanding that. I've been seeing that too. We're trying to hold accountability on both sides, and it gets very political and it can get almost nasty. So how do we respect one another and hold each other accountable to what we want? And how do we work together? Please speak to that. And then I'm going to ask our next guest to chime in. Right now, come into the frame. I'm going to ask you to come in and talk from the perspective of a youth and introduce yourself before we let Miss Pascal leave. You all are going to answer this question together. Peter Elias. You're just going to add yourself to that frame. You see yourself? Hi, Peter. Give me another format. Put me in the front and you two at the down part, please. So I'm teaching a lot of our youth that are coming in who want to know about podcasting, who want to know about how we interact, how we're using AI, and how we're handling our narratives and telling our stories and connecting. And it's going to look different generationally. So I appreciate this multi-intergenerational approach when we go to talk and when we go to educate people, when we go to have panel discussions, when you all go to different debate sessions, whether it be through a restorative circle on the roots on the ground, whether it be people who are more forward speaking, the youth need to hear it. And you can truly see what was happening with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We didn't stop to hear the youth. And that was the mistake that we did with poor blue collar folks. And that's why Virginia flipped and went to the Democrats. And also, Virginia also saw how the Republicans who felt they were disconnected from what was happening to their blue collar America. It's falling apart, the infrastructure. The multi-generationals are coming together and they're having these discussions. So we will always have a youth voice. Thank you, Peter Elias. I needed to give some content on that. Come into this frame and share how you would like to introduce yourself. Are you able to hear us, Peter? Good. So you are coming through to everybody in the podcast. Because Angela, can you hear Peter okay?
No, I cannot hear Peter.
Okay, that's what I thought. Peter, is your mic on? Okay. It sounds like Peter is having some audio trouble. Make sure that you're clicking on your microphone on your screen and enter the chat. Audio. We can see your video though. So Angela, having our young people at the table, tell me why that's important.
Well, having the young people at the table is vital because we can really begin to, if we let them use their authentic voice, um, see where we struggle with engagement, because engagement is part of any successful educational environment. Engagement and responsiveness to what um, our students need. If they aren't in the room, then it's not a valid voice. That's to say, I can't say, well, my student told me. There might be some power in that, but it's more powerful when the student actually speaks to their lived experience. Now,
Okay.
in order for that to
That's double
happen,
jeopardy though, huh?
yeah, because you might get your feelings hurt.
Well, that's why I love working with our autistic babies.
Because
They
they're
tell you
going to,
like it is.
yes, they're going to tell you, well, I thought that, I mean, like, woo, I thought that was a lesson.
Hmm.
I thought that lesson was killed it. Woo, I did great. And then when you sit down with the kid, the students, they were like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even connect with that. I don't
Wait,
even,
and then tell you your breath stank.
yes.
And put it on Instagram, and you'll never know. And they be laughing with their friends. I don't understand these kids nowadays either, though. They need to have some etiquette. There has to be some etiquette. Come on,
Yeah, but
some
how I preach
accountability.
that is I tell them that it's an unequal fight when they do stuff like that. And they say, why, Miss P? I said, because you might want to, bust Miss P out on Instagram or something like that. But if I turn around and bust you out, then I'm the aggressor. But you just did
Wait,
that
but
to me in the classroom.
listen, we could go on that. I'm just gonna say this: I have had my feelings hurt a couple times being a therapist.
Oh yeah, as a teacher, I have too.
Because
Um,
you're an emotional caretaker, and people who already always in fight mode, they just that's all they know. So they don't know how you're trying to care for them and direct them, but also assert and say, no, this is how it should be done. Things that come impulsively to your mind. Stop, count 10 seconds, think about it. Should I post it? Should I do it? Should I lash out? Should I hurt this person? Because we went and saw teen suicides go up from overdosing, um, as well as like depression symptoms. So that was another mental health thing that was happening. So I think the mic is working with Peter right now. Peter, are you there?
Can you guys hear me?
yes, I can.
Okay, so to go back to what I was saying earlier, good evening, everybody. Just in case if some people didn't hear me earlier, my name is Peter Elias. I am the Youth Advisory Project Coordinator for RSSC. And for those that don't know what that stands for, it stands for Reinvent South Stockton Coalition. So I want to give a real quick shout out to the person who was here before me. Because if it wasn't for him and the role that he played with everything and making sure everything was taken care of, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing right now and have this position. And I wish him the best on his journey throughout life. Now, I've been in this line of work since 2016, around 2016, 2017. I have won a California Endowment Award. Um, I believe it was for ending youth incarceration. It's been a second since I looked at that award. I can't really think of it on the top of my mind, but it was back in 2020. Um, and throughout that time, I've also won multiple other awards from city council people to the from the mayor to multiple other entities. But yeah, that's pretty much on who I am.
Thank you, Peter. That was awesome who you are. Are you from South Stockton?
I am from Stockton. Yes, I have bounced around Stockton from central to east side to now currently south side Stockton. So I don't label myself in one specific side of town. I label myself as in Stockton in general.
I love it. So you all have a youth coordinator that's here that is going to be taking up the work for the All Children's Thrive design team. We're supposed to be designing a policy, and it's supposed to be with the city of Stockton, but I have not been able to see if our children can handle some of the things we're seeing with the Dawes. It is a lot of immature, emotional, unimaginable things that are coming off that Dawes. And as a person who tries to support our children, it's hard to bring our children and say, respect this Dawes and tell them what y'all need. It's hard to do that when y'all going online. Is it the truth? The kids are like, okay, we got to present this policy, and it is a state regional policy that other cities, major cities, are putting in place. RSSC has been chosen to do it. We got to educate our youth. It is time for educators. I'm calling you now, a call of action. Again, come out and hear what we are trying to do. I have a couple announcements before we leave. Do we have anybody else backstage? Do we have anybody backstage, Peter? So we have the Community Resiliency Hub here. We're here. Who is this? Come on now, don't be shy. Unmute your microphone. Who does it say? Okay, all right. It's my support system. He chimed in on he's actually across the street. Shout out to the Southside OGs, brother Anzar, Snappies. They're here, bringing commerce right here on San Joaquin Street, y'all. Come down here, support these businesses down on San Joaquin Street. Support coming into the arcade here at Parents by Choice. Shout out to Tony Yandon, Parents by Choice, and here where they have Stockton Collegiate, it's next door. They're doing a lot of internships. We're looking for volunteers. We're looking for internships. Come through if you need volunteer hours. Come through if you have an idea. I'm opening it up. The call of action for the Youth Advisory Board will be posted shortly after this podcast. And I wanted to invite all of you, all South Stocktonians, all of Stockton that want to see different views come into play, and probably who just don't want to deal with the messy politics anymore. It's okay for us to come together in collective impact. We can go and get the funding until the city works out what they need to, whether it's DEI, whether it's misappropriation of funds, whether it's lashing back and forth with the vice mayor and the mayor. We're watching. We are sending you all love. We're hoping that you'll be able to work it out, get therapy, and get back on track. We're here at Prop 50. That's my love. That's not targeted at anybody. That's speaking truth on what we've been seeing. That's why I've been staying away and practicing self-care, practicing focusing on the people. And a lot of us, shout out Shimon Reyes, shout out Michaelita, shout out Kristen Birthwhistle, Kristen Fisher, shout out Michael Swarson, shout out Paul Shields, Samuel Reeves, Leo Martinez, Jasmine Della Fosse, and the list goes on. Tony McNeil, Barbara, shout out to y'all. Hold the line. Support our children. Pay attention to the Dawes and the council. It is time now. We heard from Angela Pascal. We want to thank you. I invite anybody to come onto the podcast. It is a community channel. Back in the day, we used to have a community channel. So I just started my own. This is how my run Mel's analytics up. Come on, share it with somebody. And if I hurt your feelings, come online. Let's talk about it. If you want to get an understanding, come online. That's how we do it. Don't come bring me trouble. I don't like it. But if you got a solution, if you got righteousness, if you come with spirit on either side, and you come honestly without wanting to cause harm, you want to listen and learn, then come through. And I'm a church kid, so sometimes it sounds like I be on a sermon, but I'm very concerned as a leader. I'm older now. I'm seeing some things. We got to change. In my lifetime, I must have with my family carried so many of y'all, my family, and carried people and saw the demise of the communities. We kill each other. Other people kill us. The police kill us. They're untrained. They're scared. The media is scared. We're portrayed. Black women are aggressive. I don't know how many narratives I keep hearing, I see. I don't trust. I hear that a lot. I get it. People have triggers, but we got to call it in line. It's time to get our emotions in line. If I hurt you, I'm sorry. If I didn't practice love, or I be having a lot of things on my mind. Shout out to Georgia Brownlee. She lost children in her family, but she was able still to pull off giving away October, Halloween, Harvest Fest. Check on your strong friends. Let that sink in. I love y'all. It's Rebel Rae. Peace out. In live stream.